a joint policy and teaching and learning subcommittee together for this evening, and I would like to invite Bob Cavallo and Dan Pacho to present the technology planning and training improvement plan.
Good evening. Dan Pacho and I are pleased to present the 2025-2026 Quincy Public Schools Technology Planning and Training Program Improvement Plan. This plan continues our commitment to providing students and staff with reliable, up-to-date technology. Our focus remains on using technology in a smarter, more effective way, improving our technical support, training, instructional quality, and home-to-school communications, all to ensure our students and educators are equipped with tools and skills they need to succeed. By collaborating with the superintendent's leadership team, program directors, and principals, we aim to deliver a strategic, unified approach to addressing our district's technology needs and supporting student achievement. On page 5, we begin with a reflection on the past year. With the dedicated support of Mayor Koch, the Quincy School Committee, Superintendent Mulvey, and the superintendent's leadership team, we've made significant strides. This support allowed us to procure 25 new laptops for professional staff, 75 docking stations, 50 desktop computer replacements, 183 new Chromebooks, and 8 interactive projectors. Our collaboration with Quincy Access Television continues to highlight the positive educational aspects of our district. We also remain committed to improving our utilization of Aspen, providing critical training to staff, supporting our school scheduling teams, and enhancing our digital communications platforms. Now that we've highlighted some of the progress we've made, it's time to look ahead. Each goal in this plan builds and focuses on key areas of growth to continue improving our district's technology. To walk us through the first goal in more detail, I'd like to hand it over to Dan Pacho.
Hello. Goal 1, located on page 7. It's a continuous goal focused on improving how we utilize and interact with Aspen Student Information System. Our priority is to continually enhance the usability of Aspen Student Information System for school staff members, including teachers, counselors, deans, secretaries, and school administration. We are committed to offering training and support to ensure Aspen becomes an invaluable resource for all stakeholders. For school year 25-26, we are supporting the successful implementation of the new high school letter grading system. We will continue our support to our high school staff by providing guidance and resources necessary for this transition. We are also very excited to implement the student online registration by February of 2026, which will help streamline the process for our new families registering in our district this coming spring. Goal 2 on page 8 is also a continuous goal, focusing on enhancing the scheduling processes on all grade levels. The scheduling processes is of key importance in school operations. We are dedicated to refining the process year after year in collaboration with our school administrators. We intend to evaluate current scheduling practices, uphold transparent scheduling timelines, and ensure punctual completion of schedules for all grade levels while adhering to federal, state, and local guidelines. Our third goal, page 9, is elevating our home-to-school communication. We will maintain consistent, transparent, and accessible digital channels, including district and school websites, district social media, SMORE newsletter, and we'll use the feedback from families to enhance our digital communication strategies. I'll shift it over to Bob.
Thank you, Dan. Goal 4 on page 11 is our ongoing commitment to supporting computer-based online assessments. This is a collaborative effort. Our teams work closely with the curriculum team, principals, and City of Quincy's IT team to ensure all technical and logistical aspects of state and district assessments like MCAS, WIDA, MAP, and advanced placement exams run smoothly for the students and staff. Goal 5 on page 12 focuses on providing technology planning and training opportunities. We'll continue to identify and offer training for staff on key applications like Aspen, Google Classroom, and other educational tools. A critical part of this goal is ensuring the timely and secure integration of student data from Aspen into many of our learning resources, such as Lexia, Naviance, and other various math and reading programs. Finally, Goal 6 on page 14 is a continuous goal to identify and increase funding opportunities. We will actively seek grants and partnerships and work with the superintendent's leadership team to prepare the 2026-2027 technology budget proposal to ensure these initiatives are sustainable. Our improvement plan and goals reflect the district's ongoing commitment to integrating technology that enriches both teaching and learning. We'll build on what we've accomplished, keep pushing forward, and embrace new opportunities to ensure steady progress for our students and staff. Thank you for your time, and we welcome any questions or feedback that you may have.
Any questions? Mr. Bergoli?
Implement student online registration. Why are we getting away from people coming into the building that they're registering at?
This will be running parallel to the parents, so it's going to actually create more avenues. So you can have families that are coming into our building for registration, and then there's also going to be a pre-registration process for those that want to pre-register online.
That's not my question. My question is, why can't they come in person?
They can still do that
They should
in,
be doing that all the time.
Okay.
I want to eyeball these people that are coming in.
okay.
That's my opinion, respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mrs. Hubley?
Thank you very much for the presentation. Just one question. So I noticed you had under work in collaboration with principals, sites to assist and support various technology integration initiatives during math nights, ELA nights, and technology nights. Where would I see a technology night? Which
Typically,
I would like to go to that.
I'd say that's integrated with such programs that are being offered for the applications with the curriculum team,
Okay, so that's not going to be like any specific places that you would
such
know.
as the parent academies and such.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'll keep an eye out for it then. Thank you.
Mrs. Berdios?
Thank you. Thank you both for the information. I do have a couple questions. Can you talk about the Chromebook situation as, I was looking on the pink sheet and just kind of, it doesn't actually list the age of the Chromebooks, and I suspect most of them are from the pandemic. That's sort of when they all entered our system, but we have replaced some, I think, since then.
Yes.
But I suspect the bulk of them are still from 2020. Can you just talk about the condition of them? Do we have enough? Are they being rehabbed? Just sort of the overall Chromebook situation.
So back in 2020, we purchased close to about 9,000 Chromebooks. Since then, we've been slowly replacing as many as we can each year. I know initially we started with about a 1,500 Chromebook increase, and then this year in particular, we placed an order for, I believe it was 470 total Chromebooks, which then covered the need for replacements of broken ones that we've come across.
Okay, so we're in good shape. We're not behind. We're not.
As of right now,
Okay.
we are, yes.
And you can still get them pretty readily. I know at some point we could, when everyone was looking to get them, they were hard to come by, but
Yes.
now they're okay. All right. That's great. Are we, and also referencing the pink sheet, are we planning to replace old desktops, the desktops that are getting older, or is it at this point just kind of going by the wayside and we're having students use Chromebooks, or is the plan to replace all of the old?
So the desktops are mostly used by the teachers currently. So we're slowly phasing the desktops out and replacing the desktops with laptops and docking stations for the teachers. Any desktop replacements are for the computer labs that we've been replacing.
Okay. Couple other things I noted here. Your goal number 6, continue finding grants and revenue streams, so incredibly important. And I know that must take a lot of time to find them, to write them, and go after them, but super important, as I'm sure you've already seen. Do you think would it be beneficial to have a more concrete goal, like for instance, maybe to find a certain number of new revenue streams in that goal, to have it be a little more concrete, or do you feel comfortable just sort of saying, we're just gonna go find what we can?
I mean, we look at all avenues, partnering with other teams, such as through the superintendent's leadership team, just getting creative with funding.
Okay.
to look for more funding to support technology for the classroom.
Okay, I don't suspect that goal is going anywhere, so I'd like next year to sort of see, maybe not for this year, but to sort of see like a number that you'd like to identify, a couple new, X number of new ways of getting that funding, just because it's not going down, I don't think, at this point. I wanted to float an idea of so you had a lot in here about scheduling, and I know that's not exactly what this is getting at, but a district calendar, I feel like that comes up a lot of times just in different conversations that I have about, when one school plans, their open house night, and on another night where another school is planning their PTO meeting, or, there's something happening at Central when there's already another thing happening at Point. If we sort of had a district calendar where we could sort of keep all the activities for all the schools sort of in one place, so that one principal might know what another principal has planned that night, so if there's multiple children at different schools, we're not overlapping different things. Is that something we could sort of look into developing, or sort of, even if it's an internal, just for principals type thing, but I think it would help with conflicting things that parents end up needing to go to. That would
definitely
be
look at that.
fantastic if that's something that could be, looked into a little more. And I actually think SMORE's great. The annual fee for that seems like pennies to me for the benefit we get out of that. So that's fantastic. And I actually think the online registration option is a good one for families that can't get here if they don't have transportation, or if they don't have childcare, if they find it difficult to access. I think that's a good option. I think having both available is good for families that do want to come in and feel more comfortable doing it that way. But I think the online edition is great, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gattro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my time on the school committee is coming to a close at the end of December, but I just wanted to give Bob and Dan a shout out for the work that they've done over the course of my 8 years. I mean, I feel like in the technology space has been pretty transformative, in part due to COVID, but in part due to your leadership. When I first came on board, digital literacy was something that was important to me, and the role that you all have played in working with the administration and the teachers around digital literacy is super important to me. The Chromebooks were a lesson, that we've all learned and through COVID, and you all have done yeoman's work in terms of keeping up with the technology and the hardware as well as the software. And finally, on Aspen, Aspen is something, as a parent who has had children go through the system and relying on Aspen and the work and the agreement that we got with the teachers union in terms of having more clarity in the use of Aspen, I think is transformational in terms of parents and students understanding where they stand at any given moment. And with respect to Dan's comment, and I don't know if this is something for you to answer, Dan, or Dr. Perkins, but we did have a lot of discussion about the new grading as a body, and will Aspen be one of those vehicles that we use to communicate with the parents around, specifically, we talked about early and often, if you're failing a class and letter grading and all of that to do the outreach, is that one of many vehicles that are going to be used?
Yes, so we've been working with the staff. I know Dan's done an amazing job putting resources online. So right now we are, all of our staff are updating just about every 2 weeks, which is great. They either use a Google link, which automatically transfers the data over to Aspen, or they use the Aspen gradebook itself. So, yep, and we also send out letters, but we use Aspen to do that. So Dan Pacho is amazing, and he runs lists for us all the time, and we use that information to then send out letters. Most recently, in terms of students who potentially are losing credit because of absences during term 1, he runs lists and sends out letters about that. He actually added it to the report card as well. So we've done a lot to really try to improve communication in that area. If you want to add anything.
Yeah, so to support, the change in grading, one of my bigger focus this school year, and this has kind of been leading out the last couple of years, is kind of getting teachers comfortable with using Aspen and putting their grades in there more consistently. So, in terms of giving them the resources and, whether it's screenshots, setting up time with them, via virtual meeting to go through each of their grade books if they have questions. So that's been doing that, because I think if we have content in Aspen, then it drives families more into Aspen to look at what's in there. And, we do have the, Aspen Health Center, Aspen Help Center under the Quincy Public Schools website, the public website, that kind of goes through some of those. So how to download report cards. And as Dr. Perkins mentioned, this school year with the high school grading changes, we have the generic report card that goes out with the grades, and also now the attendance report card for those students that are potentially losing credits. So that kind of increases that communication there.
I guess in closing, I just want to say I appreciate your professionalism, your responsiveness, your leadership in really kind of a changing technological world, and how everything has really transformed in the 8 years that I've been on this body. And the city is lucky to have both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guttrow. I have to agree with him. I've been around a long time, as I'm also exiting, but when there was Richie O'Brien and 3 techs running the whole district, and to see where we have come, and we were using old equipment that other people were donating to us at the time. I can remember the big scare around Y2K, nothing was attached to the internet, so nothing was going to be damaged. So we were all panicking for no reason, but this has been a tremendous chain, and I think certain COVID pushed it, but for the good, I believe. We have 12,138 devices that you people are managing. That's incredible. And $830,000 worth of software. It's just incredible. It really is incredible, the things that the teachers and the staff and the kids have at their disposal. So I am so pleased by the work that you're doing. I have 2 quick questions. One is, how difficult will it be, or was it, to change to the grade? And the numerical grades are still there for GPA purposes, correct?
That's correct. Yep. So our GPAs are, it's hybrid calculating from the previous years and then what's moving forward. So,
Okay.
yes.
So I just wanted the public to understand that the GPA will still be there.
Yes,
And those are the
exactly.
grades. And as far as the students, the self-registration, will that be in multiple languages?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to turn this over to the superintendent to discuss that.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And before I discuss that issue, I do want to introduce to you, probably for the first time publicly, Digital Communications Web Accessibility Specialist, Katie Delaney, who's sitting in the back. So just a shout out to Katie, thank you. And of course, thank you to Bob and Dan for all of your work. As Mr. Guttrow indicated, your work over the last several years, particularly through COVID all the way to the present, has really been fantastic. So we really appreciate you and the assets that you bring to the Quincy Public Schools, so thank you. I do want to just touch on the registration concern that Mr. Bergoli has, and I'll actually turn it over to Laura because she deals with the registration process day in and day out with central registration, but just it isn't something that just happens online and we don't meet the parents. We actually do have interpersonal interaction with the parents. It's just not all done online. And Laura, would you like to describe that?
Sure. So since 2020, we've actually had online initiation of registration, okay? So every parent fills out a Google form with information about each student who's registering. I screen those forms and assign them either to a school or to central registration. And the system that Dan is working on, the parents are actually going to be inputting that information directly in a way that it can be uploaded into Aspen, which is going to actually save everybody more time. But parents are still going to have to come in person and present certain documents, okay? But ultimately, this system is going to, because right now what we're doing essentially is like the double entry of the same information. The parents are filling it out, they're writing contact cards out by hand, the school secretaries have to type everything. So the parents are going to initiate this in a way that's going to hopefully help all of us. And then they'll be uploading documents for people to review, but there's always going to be an in-person component. And the families that go through central registration, not all of them will have the computer skills, to be able to do that even with the multiple language access. So, we're expecting that still to be part of the process too.
Thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
And just,
Thank you.
I've had deal with Bob many, many times because this thing gives me a problem. And he's always responsive and always helpful. I mean, doesn't matter what time of day I get on, he's awesome. So I want to thank you publicly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I entertain a motion to accept this improvement plan? This is who was seconded by Mr. Bergoli. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
And now we'd like to invite Dan Gilbert from North Quincy High to come. It's in my notes.
Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about North Quincy High School. It's the fourth time I've gotten to do it as principal, and I think you know that my passion is working in schools with kids and with families. This document that is obviously a collaborative work among all of the teachers, department heads, and different constituencies at North is only a document. And it does not capture in any way some of the nuance of what it means to be an educator in the Quincy Public Schools or be a principal in the Quincy Public Schools. So I'm going to start with just a quick little story. We started and just completed our second season of unified basketball at North. And if you don't know what unified basketball is, it is when we pair up our students with significant disabilities with students who are not, and we play other schools in basketball. And it provides an incredible opportunity for our students that would not be able to play basketball otherwise, the opportunity to play in front of their friends, families, to have posters made that have their names on them, and to listen to a crowd chant your name after you make a basket. And so it's not uncommon to see Julie Graham or Jill or Katie or their elementary school teacher or their middle school principal at those games. And it's really easy to cheer like for your own kids at your own school because many of the students that are playing are friendly with and work alongside a lot of our seniors in the school store. I bring this up because each of the last 4 home games that we've had, the coaches who have students in practice after school have taken it upon themselves to cancel practice so that they can be part of the audience for students. And there are 2 teams over the last 2 years that have found and printed up the rosters from the visiting teams coming, whether they're from Scituate or they're from Hingham. And at our first home game last year, our football players had made a poster for each of the opposing players with their name on it and their family's name on it. And during the introductions, they would stand and hold the opposing players, of course, ours as well, to celebrate them in their own special way. The amount of positive feedback and thanks from other families whose students were playing in that game, I don't think I could capture. But my point is that integrity and character and kindness and honesty matters. And that doesn't always come out in a school improvement plan. We certainly want to couple that with high expectations, academic achievement, academic growth, et cetera. But there's so much happening in the Quincy Public Schools that takes students that are most vulnerable and supports them in a way that makes them feel human, makes them feel cared about, and lets their families know that their kid matters to so many different people. So with that being said, our MCAS scores, not unlike the rest of the state, took a dip this past year. When 10th graders know that it doesn't count, it has an impact on our performance. What I will say, and I'm most impressed with, is that our percentage point in terms of accountability only dropped by 1 percentage point. We went from 72 to 71. So we're still performing above 70% of the schools in the state of Massachusetts. At the same time, some of our subgroups far exceeded their counterparts. So our low-income subgroup finished in the 89th percentile, so 88%, better than 88% of other schools in Mass. Our high-need subgroup, same. Our EL subgroup was 88% better than other subgroups or that other groups in Massachusetts. And so what you see is that though there's a little bit of a dip, our students at North are outperforming their counterparts significantly in each of their areas of MCAS. As a school, 62% of our students scored in the exceeding or meeting expectation category for ELA, 59% for math, and those are well above 10 percentage points above the state average. Same with science. And if you look at our proficiency scores for language, they increased 24 percentage points, which is going to make it really hard to accomplish our goal this year because it's so high. But that's a significant increase over the course of one school year. Student growth percentile, we were above 50% in pretty much every category. And if you look at our lowest performing students, that is the student group that got us achievement points and growth percentage points above everybody else. And that's the lowest 25% of students taking that. So that bottom group grew more last year than any other group at North Quincy High School. So very, very encouraged by that. Our vocal data continues to show that students feel like they belong at North, feel cared about at North, feel like the message is, we're never going to give up on you, even if you give up on yourself, kind of mentality. And it speaks to, or it comes out pretty clearly in the vocal data. We'll continue our quest to build the best and greatest cultural fair. We're on our 3rd year this year and looking forward to celebrating all of our cultures in April of this year. We continue to offer so many incredible opportunities for students at North. We have well over 80 different groups. I feel every day like I'm getting an email about a new group. I need a new advisor. Can we have another bake sale? Our students are really driven to make a difference in their community in a way that's both meaningful, but also in a way that you can quantify it. And it's really a fun place to work. Our chronic absenteeism numbers dropped by 3.1 percentage points, which that was before the new attendance policy. I would say on average, the number of students that are absent per day is 50% or less than it was last year. It's not uncommon for kids to say to me, Mr. Gilbert, I've been here every day this week and I haven't gotten dismissed once. And I say, yeah, me too. But at the same time, it's like, it's a shift in expectation. Our kids are really, I think, rising to it. I've never gotten so many doctor's notes in the 26 years I've been in QPS. So I welcome your feedback. I'm not going to go over each of the goals unless there are questions about them. In a high school as big as North Quincy High, there are a lot of a lot of moving parts. And I'm just proud to work there with Miss Holland, the department heads, and I think just an incredible group of human beings first and educators second. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I love reading through your vocal survey. It was great. I love seeing that, teachers promote respect among students. It's a very high mark. Teachers are available to talk to when we need them. That's great. That's high. And, students are open to having friends who come from different backgrounds. It's great to see that was a high number as well.
Yeah.
Only real question I had was in your class size section, any feedback from teachers on the classes that you have that are 30 plus?
It's interesting. The majority of those are in math. And like I can tell you that Mr. Caldwell will say, I'll take 40 if it gets all 40 kids into an advanced classroom. So there's never been any negative feedback. I think, an advanced group of students is a very different in terms of management, a different level.
Yeah, see that's honor psychology, advanced Mandarin too, so I figured that was probably the case, but I just wanted to double check that our teachers hadn't expressed anything.
No,
So,
not at all.
great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Cahill.
Good question. I did have a question on the student growth. Like, how do we determine that? Is that based on their MCAS scores or? Okay, all right.
Yeah, student growth percentile is,
So it's basically just the MCAS that we're.
Yes.
only
And the
MCAS.
growth from last year to this year. and that's the
It's them
percent.
compared to themselves.
Okay.
So how much
In a
they grew,
cohort.
like in a cohort from the last time they took the MCAS, which in most cases would be 8th grade.
Okay, so it's just MCAS. I wasn't sure if there was any other predictors in there. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Just a question, notwithstanding all the information in here with the goals, and not necessarily getting into the vaping issues, cigarette issues, or what have you, but is there anything that keeps you up at night? Part one. Part two would be where we're going educationally as a society with AI and all. Have you processed any of that and see where we're going to be?
Yeah.
From the high school perspective?
Sure. My wife, when she snores, that's, of course, keeps me up at night.
Hope she's not watching.
Mr. Brugoli? She's not. That was a joke. I think what keeps me up at night are the individual concerns that we have and are dealing with in school. There's not an overarching issue that I'm that's keeping me up. It's really individual stories, and it could be around mental health, or it could be around homelessness, or it could be around students just making and participating in high risk behavior. You mentioned vaping. Is vaping an issue? Vaping's an issue, of course. But I think, there's so many proactive things that are done at school, and certainly when we have situations that would keep me up at night. I've already talked to Aaron, and I've already talked to Kevin, and I've already talked to Jill Karanis. There's such a team approach to trying to figure out what can be incredibly complex situations in trying to help kids get around hurdles and et cetera. So I wouldn't say there's something that's overarching, but definitely there are individual situations that cause me to lose sleep.
What about part two?
I forgot what you said.
So education, you've been a principal at all three levels.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
High school for a number of years now, but how do you see us going educationally with AI and the changes that everybody's talking about?
Yep.
Though nobody can articulate specifically what those changes are going to be.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I don't know if you had any.
I think AI has been an issue. We've dealt with issues related to AI or academic integrity. We have a team at North, the academic integrity team that takes on, there's a group of department heads and teachers that take on kind of investigating when we think there could be potential use of AI or cheating. I know there are a lot of teachers that have gone back to paper pencil in class for that reason, because you can kind of guarantee in some, as best you can, that kids are producing work that's their own. There are a number of different softwares out there that detect AI and what percentage of AI, let's say it's an essay, you can cut and paste into web programs like Detectable that'll actually give you and tell you what percentage they've evaluated that comes specifically from ChatGPT or from Gemini, et cetera. We use a program called Turnitin, which does the same thing. AI, as great as it is, it's pretty easy to identify if you're a teacher. They tend to tell things in threes, innovative, take your pick. And I do think that the system has done a really good job in being proactive in creating a team specifically around the idea of AI, because I don't know where it's going. But I do think it's something that teachers are very, I wouldn't say interested in, but very aware of, and making sure that the things that the assignments they give and the questions they ask can be answered in a way that wouldn't, I can't say preclude the use of AI, but there are some strategies that they've employed to minimize.
That wasn't the direction I was headed. I appreciate that. I'm more on the cutting edge side. How can we use it on the school side, on the teaching side going forward? And something to think about. I don't necessarily need an answer right now. I understand you got to balance the other side. I get that, believe me. But I'm just, I'm guessing at some point as a committee, we're going to have to dig down a little bit and figure out where we're going to be going with schools all across Commonwealth, probably in the country for that matter. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Dan, but I appreciate the comments.
Of course.
Ms. Perdios?
Can I just say something on the AI front? We've talked as a committee, we asked Mr. Marani and Dr. Perkins to draft a policy on how to use AI in our classroom for the teachers and the students. And I know that they're involved in, at the state level and with DESE, a team of people that are working on how AI can be used across districts in the state. So at some point, we're going to have a presentation on where you are with all of that. So do you want to say something about that?
No, I think that's right, and I think the mayor is correct. I think it's here, it's coming. So whether or not, I think Mr. Gilbert's also right that students need to learn skills, and they need to be able to write, and they need to be able to read, and they need to be able to do math. But we also need them to leave us able to be functioning digital citizens in the world that they're going to be entering upon. And so that does mean teaching, in some respects, how to respectfully and responsibly use tools such as AI, because there's a lot of misinformation that can come up on AI. There's a lot of false stories and that kind of thing. So we really need to teach kids, like, how do you identify what is a reliable source and what is not, when you're looking at things like that. Because AI doesn't just impact, it's ChatGPT, yes, but it's also stories on the internet. Right, can be written by AI and be very misleading. So, and kids can take that and think that that's a primary source. That's not a primary source. So how do you navigate this world that we now live in, so that they can become, and Gail Cavallo and I have talked about this quite extensively, that we need our kids to leave us as critical thinkers. And so there are tools that are out there that are there to help them, but our kids have to be able to think for themselves. And so I think that that's where our direction for our policy is where we'll be navigating. It's not to ignore it, but it's how do we teach it? How do we use it responsibly? How do we have controls on it to protect our kids' privacy and our teachers' privacy and those kinds of things?
And I think one of the other things is we need to create policy so that we're all using it the same way in our district. So you're not using it in a different way at North, and Quincy High's using it in a different way, so that if we have students in both schools, they're going to have the same input, whereas, you might be grading someone differently because of their use of AI and someone else isn't. So I think across the board, it's important for us to have that in place, and having a state committee together to kind of figure out the right way to use it. So they are going in that direction, just,
Whether we like it or not, we are.
yeah. Well, and I think it's like the internet, right? You can't be on the internet and just taking anything from that there as a credible source as well. You still have to know what you're looking at.
Just to that point, I think we decided early on not to make a policy because it was changing so quickly, and we couldn't get a handle on what the policy should be. That'll get better as we go on, but it
Definitely.
is an incredible tool for teachers. I have used it to write curriculum maps, lesson plans. I submitted a lesson plan to it and said, now do chapter 2 for me. In the special book, an edition of a book, and out came almost exactly what I would have done, but the lesson plan was done in like 30 seconds. It was pretty cool. And you can change it. It is pretty cool. I mean,
It's a great tool.
No, I know, I was just
It
thinking
is.
about
I gave them
my
a
first
sample
year
of
as a
my
teacher.
lesson plan. Yeah, it's just, really, it's.
30 seconds.
So you have to make sure the kids know, we can do what you can't, it's gonna be kind of a weird policy,
You have to.
But I think, but anyway, I'm sorry, Mrs. Perdios.
Thank you. I know we could probably talk for an hour on AI, and I'm excited for that conversation, but I want to just kind of circle back to North Quincy. I just want to first say how grateful I am, that we all are to have you in our district. I mean, every time you speak, you share a story or something that just shows not only the caliber of the students at the school and the staff at the school, but your connection to them, the fact that you see them and how deeply you see them, and just, it's amazing. And I just
Thank you.
always appreciate hearing about North Quincy through your eyes, because that tells so much more than this document
you.
can. That being said, the MCAS scores, I think we're all kind of acknowledging that with it not impacting graduation, we may see that dip. Of course, I'd love 100% of our students to be exceeding or meeting expectations, but because we are above the state average at North, I think we're in a safe area. And as you say, you're not going to let up anyway, but just kind of keeping that in perspective with, we're going to need to figure out how to make those more impactful if we're still going to use those as a measure. Just a quick question on, because you did do better than the average, and in some areas you actually did really well. So for instance, I'm going to kind of lump them together. So for your math goal, last year you were 14% higher than the state. And why, for this year's math goal, for instance, why did you go with just 12% as opposed to just something even more aggressive? Was it because you had such decent turnout, and that goal was just comparing you to the state?
I always say more. Sometimes, in the interest of building a collaborative document where we have shared goals, I may have lost out this year on that one. 12 is still very ambitious. And I think, in many respects, we have 5 new teachers teaching some of the content that's going to be tested on. And it's not an excuse, it's just the reality of where we are right now in our math.
Okay, I was just trying to understand, the same thing
Yeah.
for science too. So I was just wondering why the goals weren't a little even more aggressive, because you were actually doing pretty well. The goals were actually less than the increase that you had seen in
Yeah.
actuality.
I think-
That was my question.
I think people are also concerned that there was a drop. And we don't know, last year was the first year, and now we have another year, if that's going to continue to be the case. We're not sure. I'll say, we gave out 137 Adams scholarships on Friday to our seniors. And I made it a point in the announcements that morning that you can't get this scholarship unless you perform on the MCAS regardless. So I do think there's going to be a few years where kids really kind of figure it out. And if you want to go to college, why wouldn't you want to take advantage of something like that?
Right, okay, thank you, I appreciate your,
Sure.
your thoughts on that. And a couple small kind of comments here. First of all, I love your extracurriculars. You were mentioning how many there are in the Marvel Club. So MJ is one of the student reps and was looking over your, the school improvement plan at home too and said, oh my gosh, Mom, they have a Marvel Club. I might have to switch from Quincy High to North because there's a Marvel Club. And
Well, you
I
can
don't
tell
think
her-
he was fully serious, but still, I think that was a pretty
If
impressive.
my brother, who is an actor, lives in Los Angeles, does a lot of voice work. He just got a part. Oh, I'm not supposed to say this. Sorry, it hasn't gone in production yet. I'll tell you on the side.
All right, I'll look forward to that. And I did notice you also have a world language club. Has there been any talk, and maybe this is a Dr. Perkins question, is there any way of getting world language to ever be part of the curriculum as an option for foreign language? If we have teachers who are acting as a moderator for a club not world language, sign language. I'm sorry, sign language.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
I think
said
I'm
world
so
language. I
sorry.
wrote WL and I meant SL. Adding sign language. You have a sign language club. You have a moderator for that. Is there anyone that we could get to facilitate a sign language class as part of like a foreign language curriculum?
I mean, I think it's something we could look at and maybe, survey the students or something like that to see if that would be something that would be interested. It's very hard to find a sign language person to teach, and I don't know honestly how much interest there would be, but certainly something we could look into. I know we've talked back and forth with the two principals about different, like as other languages kind of like lose interest, what is the new languages that should take its place. I think like a language that is very popular is Mandarin. Is probably like, if I was to look right now, if you ask me, I would say that would be the one that we probably need more of. But it's definitely something we could take a look at.
Gotcha. I definitely want to keep sign language on the radar
Yeah,
as far as.
I think it's great, but
Yeah.
so yeah.
Great. So just going through these real super quick. The art goal. Was the participation, is the participation low? Is that what precipitated that goal of trying to like bolster participation in the art program? Are you seeing a drop in it? Is that why? Or are you?
A little bit in certain areas. I think the kids that at the high schools that take art and produce art is they're so incredibly talented. That part of this goal was to get their work out there and give them opportunities to go beyond where they are in class. Mike Hansen lives and breathes art, and he really wants people to be able to access the work that the students at North and Quincy High have produced. So I think that's part of it. And of course, you're selling your own subject also.
Right. Right. No, that's a great answer. I love getting the work out there even more. And two last points. One was just to a point that Mrs. Hubley brought up about the 30 plus or the higher number kiddos in the class being honors advanced classes. Just kind of from the perspective of a parent that has kiddos in that level, those level classes, that still matters, having 30 or 40, not 40, but having 30, 29, 30 kids in a class, it absolutely does impact their learning. So I still want to make sure that even though we're saying, well, they're honors kids, they might need a little, they're maybe easier to teach, having that, smaller cohort, I think is important too. So I think we just probably need another Mr. Caldwell if we're having, those.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads to my last question on staffing. Do you feel that, and this is probably a loaded question, but do you feel that you have the staff that you need? Do you feel like there's any areas that you could use more support? I know you list the staff here, but there wasn't an area to sort of ask you if you felt okay with that.
I don't think we need more staff. And I apologize if it my answer came off like honors kids or advanced kids are easier to teach.
No, I think that is I think that's the normal thing
Yeah.
that people go to.
Yeah,
So I just
yeah.
wanted to make sure that.
Yeah,
I put
yeah,
that
which
out
is
there.
not how I view it. But managing can be different. I think in an ideal world, would we like to have class sizes of 20 across the board, yeah. But we have a growing high school that has grown every year since I've been there. And I think the school system and the superintendent's assistant superintendent have done an incredible job of meeting the needs of obviously the whole system, but in particular North. We hired 7 new teachers 2 years ago as additions to departments because of the increase. We've kind of held steady from last year to this year, although it really depends. We tend to get a lot of enrollment in the spring, and then it backs off a little bit from there. But there's never been a time where I've called and said, hey, we're bursting at the seams here. What do we do? It's always, well, let's try this. We can, do some things creatively to create new sections or create new opportunities.
Great, that's excellent. And it's that Marvel Club. It's just bringing kids in, man.
I know.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all
course.
the answers, and thank you for the
My
time.
pleasure.
Mrs. Cordios, I have a couple of questions and comments, mainly comments. The world language, the new framework for world language and the linguistic cultural part, I'm not going to be here, but I think that would be something that the school committee should learn about.
Absolutely.
At some future.
And teaching and
There's a
learning,
change in the
yeah.
frameworks, they should know
It
about
is, yes.
that. The CVTE goal of the digital creative, I'm assuming that's MyCap.
Yeah.
So, and I will speak to Mr. Segalla about this later tonight, but MyCap is a heavy lift for a CTE teacher to do alone. You're gonna have CVTE teachers doing MyCap and guidance counselors doing Naviance, and it's the same tool, and it's the same output, similar output,
Yep.
very similar. And I think we need to find some way to get guidance involved in this part of it, because these teachers have, especially at North, they have such little access to those kids in your schedule.
Right,
And to
right.
expect them to do all this guidance work inside the schedule is gonna be a heavy lift.
Sure.
Having worked with schools who have done it both ways, it's a very heavy lift. And,
Yep.
in some of the vocational schools, they have kids a whole day, so they have time to do that kind of stuff
Right.
after they do their skill building. But asking our teachers at both high schools to squeeze all that in their time is, I think, a little disservice, and also it could be a duplication of efforts if guidance is doing Naviance.
Sure,
And we're paying for Naviance, so I assume they're still doing it.
we do.
A great vocal data. I love the acronym for the history, the HIPAA for the, we should use that for AI, for the AI, have the kids use HIPAA. Hippo for AI. I really love that. A couple of other questions I have. Well, we're gonna move the facilities into the facility subcommittee. And this is one that just concerned me because I was someplace the other day, but your PTO, you were anticipating $8,000? I was at an elementary school last week that had a fun run that raised $24,700, and you have more than 4 times the number of kids they have.
Yep. We're significantly underestimated, I think, what we're going to get from our pack.
I think you did too. Maybe you shouldn't do that again. I think you significantly underestimated. But I'm going to entertain you want to say something? Mr. Bergoli?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, we implemented a cell phone policy. And the state's still struggling to put one in place. How is ours working at North? Honestly.
It depends on the classroom. Everybody knows the policy. The reality of sometimes how connected our students are to their cell phone. It's sometimes about managing how we intervene when students are using cell phones and how students are going to react to those kinds of things. You walk into some classrooms and there's pockets on the door, everything's away, everything's off, whereas others is not necessarily always the case. Students know that they can use it in passing time. If it were up to me, I think if we were to revisit, maybe passing time is not the time that kids should be using it. Study hall is not the time kids should be using it, because it quickly snowballs and spills over into other classrooms. And we don't want our teachers having to just manage kids in their cell. Right. We want kids and teachers to have positive relationships. There are certainly kids at our school that have to turn their cell phones in every day to their dean or to me, depending on the situation. But Most of our students, if you say to them, put your cell phone away, put your earbuds away, they do. But they're kids, and when the teacher turns their back to help somebody, do they take, yeah, it happens.
Emily?
All right. Chronic absenteeism, are you happy with the percentage?
That we were last year?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
you are, okay.
Do I think it'll be better this year? Absolutely.
Okay. Graduation rate went down? this
Yeah,
year?
0.1.
Right. Do you have a reason? Is there a
It's
reason?
that's staggered data.
Okay. All right, and then just a couple of things on the vocal survey, if I can get to it. Consequences for same inappropriate behavior are the same, no matter who the student is. And 24% said that that wasn't the case. That concerns me. Things that I'm learning in school are relevant or important to me. 40%, almost 40% said no. The level of pressure I feel at school to perform well is unhealthy. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but it's 55%.
Exactly.
And then students at school try to stop bullying when they see it happening. 43% responded positively for that. And I've stayed home at school because I did not feel safe, 86%. Now, that's a big number. And students are sexually harassed at my school, 82%. So those popped out at me.
That one is, so on the one, the stayed at home because they feel safe, so it's that's the 86 is mostly untrue. So it's mostly untrue, never
Okay,
true.
I misread that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you have to, some of the way, it depends on how they, the scale is confusing. So sometimes it's good to say mostly true, and sometimes it's bad to say mostly true. In that one, it's an example of how it's bad, which I think is, for the people that have given the vocal survey, would say that's one of the complicated things, is that the scale does change. So to say that one, I have stayed at home or avoided school because I did not feel safe at my school. You want kids to say, that's never me, right?
Right.
But the question before that, you would want them to say, that's always me, you know? So I think you have to pay attention to the scale because it does change, which is confusing for us and for kids.
I mean, just quickly, Dan, I hear nothing but positive things about what's going on at North Quincy High School, and that's your credit and your staff. So I'm more than happy with what's going on there, and I know it'll continue.
Thank
under
you.
your leadership.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Mrs. Cahill.
I just wanted to mention as well, and for the benefit of maybe any parents or teachers that are listening, talking to different parents and teachers in the district, there were concerns about cell phone use in the classroom. I mean, when we initially did the policy, I think that it seemed like things were getting better. And I think they are better, but they're not perfect. And one of the things that we were concerned about is teachers being, having to police kids and not be teaching and having to worry about cell phones. So we did ask, and I don't know if you remember, but we did ask the Dr. Perkins to bring an amended policy, or to review the policy and bring us some amendments that we could be thinking about, so that we were being stronger in our policy about cell phone use. So to take away that responsibility from the teachers. So that's something that we had asked to put in policy just about a month ago, so that they could bring it back and we can look at amending it, so that your staff doesn't have to be the ones to make sure that the kids aren't using their phones. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And I think that if we surveyed the staff, they would say it's not good. They would say it's not good. The middle school staff hates it.
Yeah.
they would say it's not good, and the state may be implementing a bell-to-bell ban anyway.
Yeah.
And if they don't, I won't be here, but I think you guys should.
And we will.
I'll entertain a motion to accept, I'm sorry, Mr. Guttrow.
Dan, at the beginning, like you always do, you tell an amazing story that really speaks to the culture of North Quincy High School. And as a North Quincy grad and as a member of the school committee, I was moved by what you said. I mean, I wish I was in the room for some of those, because that's exactly the kind of culture that you want to create and gives me enormous pride, not just in your team, but in the school district. And you mentioned the words integrity, character, honesty, kindness. Starts at the top. That's you and the educators. And I think the story is evidence of the students emulating what they've witnessed, and it's a tribute to your 4 years at North Quincy. And super proud of it, And as for the comments on the plan, I think on the whole, the vocal survey was great. I mean, I've been concerned about the chronic absenteeism. It's nice to see a little tick up, and hopefully we'll see it continue, because I think that's a big issue. The last question I want to ask, and this will be obviously for the next school committee, is the issue with the security up front in the entrance. Is there a timetable for that? Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been talking about that for a period of time, and I'm sure it's expensive to do, but those are the kinds of things that matter. And I hope that over the course of the next year, comes to fruition. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guttrow. I'm going to entertain a motion to accept by Mrs. Hubley, seconded by Ms. Rigoli. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Great job.
We're going to try to start a track program. If so, I'll.
Nice job. Thank you.
I could invite Mr. Segalla up to present the Career Vocational Technical Education Plan.
Thank you, Mrs. Lebo, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure tonight to share and highlight Quincy Public Schools Career and Technical Education's 25-26 Program Improvement Plan.
Your mic on?
It's not on? It was on.
Testing?
It's on here.
Which one? Just tap
There you go.
Happening
it. Try it
again.
again. From the top.
Thank you, Ms. Lebo, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure tonight to share and highlight Quincy Public Schools Career and Technical Education's 25-26 Program Improvement Plan. Our Career and Technical Education program provides practical instruction and valuable intellectual content alongside academics. North Quincy and Quincy High foster a stimulating environment where traditional programs exist side by side with cutting-edge 21st century competency-based career pathways. 18 pathways to be exact, including automotive, business, carpentry, criminal justice and public safety, culinary arts, design and visual communication, early education and care, electrical engineering, film and television production, healthcare, information support and networking services, metal fabrication and joining technologies, as well as plumbing. Approximately 1,470 students are currently in Quincy's CTE programs, including 369 students participating in Freshman Seminar, our exploratory program housed at Quincy High School. Our vocational programs are industry certified, have strong business partners, and a variety of post-secondary initiatives, including articulation agreements, dual enrollment, and early college high school. And I'm pleased to share that 92 vocational students are currently enrolled in Quincy's early college pathway. We encourage our students to take an active role in their own education. It is our hope to send our students to the world of work, armed forces, or post-secondary education with the necessary skills and knowledge for long-term success. Staff and students have the opportunity to explore current industry trends in collaborations with our community business partners and CTE program advisory teams. Through this collaboration, our competencies and vocational teaching areas are guaranteed to be industry-specific and meet industry standards. Quincy CT staff members are trained, experienced, and state certified in the career field they teach. Our educators deliver instructions in safety and health, technical, embedded academics related to their subject matter, employability, career readiness, management, entrepreneurship, as well as technology skills required for workplace success. Our vocational programs offer multiple educational resources for all students, including school-based and work-based opportunities, including job shadowing, co-ops, internships, clinical placements, live work in technical areas, community service learning, as well as employment experiences. At this time, I'd like to begin with a reflection of our 24-25 team goals highlighted on page 6. I'm pleased to report that each of these goals have successfully completed. They include the realignment of the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's new CTE frameworks for each of our CTE programs here in Quincy. CTE staff members have reviewed and realigned pacing guides, program course descriptions, as well as syllabi. The increase of non-traditional pathway opportunities for high school students. Our CTE support liaisons, Richard Ragusa and Brendan Cunningham, continue to do a stellar job with the promotion and awareness of non-traditional careers via classroom presentations, activities and field trips, Military Mondays, Women in the Trade Summit, Labor Unions Collaborative, career fairs, and so much, much more. We continue to provide students with a variety of additional curriculum enhancements and educational opportunities, including Skills USA, DECA, Innovative Engineering Night, and numerous culinary arts catering initiatives. Our program advisory team goals were also met as well, including our annual required program advisory team report. And finally, specific members of our program advisory team members presented a series of relevant and innovative lessons or housed a site visitation to their workplace or post-secondary institution for our vocational students. We are certainly grateful for the 115 members of our program advisory team. Next, the 2025-26 CTE team goals. Goal 1 is a new goal. Quincy CTE team will plan, prepare, and submit an application to the Massachusetts Department of Secondary Education for the designation of a new Chapter 74 program, which North Quincy High School's Engineering Technology program by June of 2026. This process is well underway, including a letter of intent submitted in June, application A submission, which was submitted last Friday. Currently, team members are preparing application B, which is due March 6th, followed by a classroom and shop safety inspection in April, and a visitation from the department in May, who will conduct interviews of the administration, our teachers and staff, students, as well as our program advisory team for engineering technology at North. On page 9, goal 2 is also a new goal. Quincy CT team is in collaboration with Quincy's curriculum management, student support services, and early college high school pathway teams will plan and prepare the DZ's MyCap initiative, My Career and Academic Plan, for implementation during the 26-27 school year for all grade 9 students. MyCap is a student-driven, multi-year process that intentionally guides students in the development of a post-secondary plan for success after high school. Through the process, each student, with guidance and support from their professional staff and with input from parents and other mentors, gains the knowledge and skills and experiences in the personal and social, career development, and academic achievement domains necessary for post-secondary success. As an instrument, the MyCap tool captures the documents, their experience and learning at each grade, and this will certainly be implemented at some point, grades 6 through 12 with the domain. On page 11, you'll see goal 3. It's a continuous goal. We'll continue to increase non-traditional pathway opportunities for high school students to ensure success beyond graduation. Goal 4 on page 12 is also a continuous goal. During the 25-26 school year, team members will continue to provide students a variety of additional curriculum enhancements and educational opportunities. These curriculum enhancements certainly complement our CTE programs. Our program advisory team goals are also continuous as well. They include, once again, the design and development of a program advisory team annual report, which is presented to the school committee in the spring each year. Goal 2 for the program advisory team was on page 17. Continue to enlist general advisory and program advisory team members so they can present a relevant lesson or visitation to the workplace or post-secondary institution for students in the career tech ed program. by May of 2026. In regards to professional development, you'll notice on page 19 through 20, Quincy Public Schools Professional Day of Learning, which was held on Tuesday, November 4th, provided CT staff the opportunity to enhance and support their craft and enroll in a variety of quality professional development trainings throughout the day. A terrific day, indeed it was. Optional professional development and training opportunities were available to vocational educators, including educator evaluation, cybersecurity, shop safety, creating with Canva, and building a culture of student leadership. You'll find the detailed training descriptions in the appendices, which is yellow handout that you have before you. And finally, the appendices beginning on page 21, you will find a variety of CT documents, which include program listings of student certifications and credentials. That's the pink handout. Core indicators review of populations. You will not see the core indicators this year. The data is not available through the department. You'll also notice 25, 26 Program Advisory Board or team documents, which include the invitation, the membership, the agenda for the October 17th meeting, which is a green handout. And lastly, once again, you'll see the Quincy Professional Day of Learning, which is yellow. So at this time, I'd certainly entertain comments or questions.
Thank you. And I love the Professional Day of Learning opportunities. They're great. Actually, I'd probably like to take a couple of them. Maybe the Canva one, that looks good. So do we, I don't know if this is something new, but did we or are we having an information session for the middle school kids who are coming up to 9th grade in the CVTE programs? Did we already do that, or we're doing that?
We haven't had it yet, but we certainly will need to do that through a new policy
The new
that the
policy,
state.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something that is a new introduction to the kids in middle school, 8th graders that are going to be coming up, and we'll be doing it probably in the spring or something.
Yeah, it's
prior to-
required of the new
Okay.
policy changes.
That's what I thought. I
Yeah.
saw that, and I wasn't sure if that was.
And we'll be
something-
sharing that new policy very soon with the policy subcommittee.
Okay,
and the
and all
CT
the new
admissions.
things that are coming up. Okay, great. Thank you. That's good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Segalla. I have a couple questions on MyCap, but I think that Ms. Lebo is going to ask about that, so I'm probably going to siphon that question off to her, just to learn a little bit more about it. Are there other, and I don't know enough about Chapter 74 programs outside of Quincy, are there more programs that we could bring into our schools that we haven't yet? And are we thinking about adding any to either of our high schools, or do we kind of have them all, or?
I
you
believe there's
might just want-
56,
Okay,
if not more, programs throughout the state, right?
Okay.
And so to offer a 74 program, you have to go through a process.
right,
And we also need to survey students in the middle school in grade 9 for interest first and foremost, and certainly a budgetary situation, then follow the
Yeah.
Chapter 74.
yeah, I
program
was just
regulations.
curious how we would know, like, for instance, that, I'm sort of using the fashion program as like an example that, so we had it, interest kind of died down in it, so we're not even including it in our stuff anymore, is that accurate?
No, well, it's a 3-year process, so we
Right.
still have 2 more years of fashion technology.
Right, but no new kids can come into it, is that
That-
correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so how would we know if that resurges if we're not asking any of the kiddos coming up if they have any interest in either fashion or any of those other programs that we don't currently offer?
So currently, it's in the program of studies, it's not in the program of studies for grade 9 or grade 10 for the first pathway. Certainly for grade 11 and 12, until we close it out of a 3-year process.
Right. I'm just wondering, should there be a survey? Should there be some kind of interest to let kiddos know? Because maybe the fashion would have been a resurgence of it if we put it out there, but once it kind of dies and goes away, then we wouldn't know if that would come back because we don't have it, so we're not telling our kiddos about it. Does that make sense? Am I
Yes.
asking that in the right?
Can I just
way?
say something?
Sure.
please? So it wouldn't come back because the state has determined that there's no jobs in it. And that's the most important thing for us. We have to make sure we have places for our kids to go. So if there's a huge demand, like there was a huge demand in biotech, it's kind of fading.
Yeah.
But we had thought about going to a biotech major, but that's fading. So we have to make sure it's the demand in our area, our workforce area, has to be there, not just the student interest. And then the other point is, if you want to put an automotive program in, it's going to cost you a bootload of money. Fashion's not. So if you're going to try to not program, you're going to have to find a budget for it, which is prohibitive for a big program, for something with big machinery. We have most of those covered anyway, except HVAC, but we have most of them covered.
We do.
But I think it'd be very hard to duplicate that. So just so you know, it's not just interest. It is definitely the demand, industry demand.
Yeah.
And that changes, so.
That was actually my kind of my point was, are we looking at any others? Are there any that you're looking at, any that you think that we would bring or we would ask kiddos about if they were interested in, if we were already thinking about
Right.
them?
If
That's
we're-
sort of my
If we're looking at North Quincy High School, there's currently 3 Chapter 74 programs, hopefully 4 by the end of May. Business technology, legal and protective services, programs that we already have. I think we should start there and
Okay.
continue to grow programs at North. With the 15 at 14 at Quincy High, I think we, for equity purposes and more programs, we'd like to offer more programs, CT programs at North Quincy.
Okay, and my last,
But
oh,
can I
sorry.
just say
Yeah,
one
no, go
thing?
ahead.
is- So if it's a CTE, if a Chapter 74 program, you're going to have an exploratory.
That is correct.
And that is a very prohibitive, because then you go to the 8-period day, and then you need all sorts of teachers. So, I mean, it was a huge change for Quincy High to do that. Once you put the exploratory in, then every 9th grader has to go through the exploratory. You add a period to the day, and that means that we need a whole lot more teachers to teach the kids.
But certainly we can start with a non-74, Ms. Lebo.
Yes,
And then
non-Chapter
build
74.
and
but-
discuss,
yeah,
plan.
And I think that you could even have a mini exploratory in your own,
Of course.
to show those non-Chapter 74 and the Chapter 74. But I just want to caution you that there's financial ramifications for just saying, let's put this program in or whatever. I'm thrilled that engineering is going into North, though. I'm sorry.
No, for sure. No, I really appreciate the context because I didn't know enough about how they come about and how, when one program that we've seen now has gone away, parents we hear have been upset by that. So I just wanted to be a little more clear about how we bring a program on, how we find out about that type of stuff. So thank you for the context. That's actually super helpful. And my last question is, we have classes in stage tech theater. That's not a Chapter 74 program or anything on that list of ones we don't have, correct?
Right.
Okay. Where does that fall in? Is that just under the arts?
It's under
for-
the arts,
For
yep.
Quincy High or North or whatever?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's under the arts.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Mr. Regoli?
Correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding was if you added more programs at North, then things would have to change.
Schedule,
Yeah,
we want, fresh, exploratory program would have to be implemented.
okay.
But we could actually add non-74 programs, which not abide to change the schedule.
Okay. Can you give some examples of that?
Sorry?
Can you give some examples of that, please?
New programs, business technology, which is not a very big expense.
I thought we had one already.
You do at Quincy High.
We don't have one in North?
No. You have electives, business electives.
Okay.
Legal and protective services could be another one that's a very popular program, vocational program.
Yeah.
Not at North, Quincy High.
Okay, but if there's interest, you could add it. Is
Absolutely.
that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so could we do a survey of?
We certainly could do a survey of grade 8 students, grade 9 students.
I mean,
That's
do
where they
they
begin
know-
the
Do
paper.
they know what it entails? What the actual outcome would be for them going forward in terms of jobs?
Certainly, we could promote the trends in the industry and certainly promote that way, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's important for kids to understand that, some of the things they're pursuing may not come to fruition in terms of getting a job that's going to pay the bills.
Of course. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Gattro?
Thank you. Good to see you, Keith.
Thank you.
And I'm testing my memory, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think it was last spring, there was a firestorm of pushback from career and tech schools against the state proposed rule.
Correct.
Can you just refresh my memory on what that rule is and where that stands?
CT admissions
Yeah.
into a school. So most regional vocational schools have that CT admissions problem. But here in Quincy, all students are accepted. So we don't have a CT admissions problem. It's admissions into a school, not a program.
So where does it stand now? What happened?
It passed.
It's passed.
It
And then
passed.
yep.
Passed?
It's now a regulation, which is why we have to redo our policy. And that's why we have to add middle school. So we're working on that right now.
So, and we sent a letter concerned with that.
You did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Understood, and it passed.
So can I add
Please.
something to that? So one of our concerns was when you have to have admission to with programs, which we do have to do, it has to be by a straight lottery. So you could have a student in front of you for an exploratory program who you know absolutely cannot do the job or won't do the job, and they still get in by lottery.
Yeah.
So that was what our pushback was.
I remember, that's all
And
coming
it
back.
passed anyway, so we have to do the lottery. One good thing we can do is guide students out of it. We have great guidance counselors.
Yeah,
So we'll come before the policy subcommittee shortly with our plan.
gotcha, understood. 8 years ago when I got on here, Mrs. Lebo spoke to how unique and well-positioned we were in the city of Quincy around career and tech ed, and I've learned an enormous amount, and that's thanks to your leadership and the work around, the relationships that you have with businesses and the trades, the work on early college, high school, the dual enrollment work. It's just super impressive, all that you do. So I've come to really understand it through a different lens and value it even more so than, when I was a student and even when I was on the city council. And like I said to Bob and Dan, just grateful to have you. So
Thank you.
thank you.
I have a few questions. I agree with not really only a few, I agree with Mr. Guttrow. We are in a terrific position in our CTE programs, and our kids have so many opportunities across the board in the arts and everything, but it's just like one of the best school systems in the world as far as I'm concerned. The core indicator data is terrific. The enhancements to the career programs are incredible. The certifications are wonderful, and the advisory teams are really strong. So I'm really proud. I'm great about the engineering. I am concerned about MyCap. I don't want those teachers to be saddled with the whole thing and have guidance counselors doing Naviance and them not finding a way. So I would hope that at some point in time, we can get student support.
That is our plan.
and-
That's our plan. This is such a beast.
It is a beast. It is a beast. And now the MyCap is required, right?
It is required for Perkins, early college, high school,
Even
and
the
other
non-chapters,
grants.
yeah.
Kim Connolly just wrote a grant for MyCap. It's a $14,000 grant for this implementation, for planning purposes for grade,
Yeah.
for this year
But
only.
it is going to be a huge thing. I just don't
no
want
question.
anybody to think that if you're a teacher, a single teacher teaching plumbing, you're the only plumbing teacher, you also have to do all this guidance work. It's too much to ask of those
Understood.
teachers, it really is.
Understood.
So, I have one question that maybe we should do offline, because I'm very concerned about the CNA training specialists. I understand how difficult it is to find health assistant teachers across the state, and I think we ought to maybe have some movement to let the two-year associate degree nurses become teachers like we do in every other area, because I know it's a problem, but I really do have some things I'd like to talk to you offline about that.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion now. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And the last item on our agenda, the superintendent's goals.
So good evening, everyone. Before you, as we had presented in great detail the last.
Sorry. Who are you?
There we go. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. At the last school committee meeting, we presented to you the superintendent's goals for 2025, 2026, and obviously we wanted the goals to be reviewed by the committee for any potential modifications, questions, et cetera. So they are here for any questions that you may have, and between myself and Dr. Perkins and other members of the SLT, hopefully we'll be able to answer those for you.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Mulvey? I have one. I have a comment. I have a comment and a question. I love the professional practice goal. We talked about that at the meeting. I absolutely love that. I think it's great to actually have it in writing. I think it happens anyway, but it's in writing. My one concern, and it's not really a concern, I'm just a question of why you didn't include excessive absenteeism when the district's doing such a major push on that.
And we certainly can add that, because at what area, within which goal?
I don't know.
Okay, we will.
don't know.
I thought we already had it in there, honestly.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
It's 4. It's district goal 4.
What page is it on?
It's on page 16.
Well, maybe I didn't read that far.
It's such a
Yeah.
big initiative, we would have to include it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'll entertain a motion to accept this. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just also wanted to say that I like the professional practice goal a lot. I think it went a lot deeper than last year's goal. I think it's just perfect. I think that's great. I had a couple questions on the rest. I'm glad to see on the, this was the reading, no, this is the math, sorry, student learning goal, the math goal. I'm glad to see that the target increased because we did hit that goal last time. I'm glad to see that it's increased even more this year. Do you feel that we should, because of the grade 10 impacts we're seeing, do you feel like there should be any part of that math goal that also has some kind of a target goal for grade 10?
We can certainly add it.
I mean, I know that it's more going to be about influencing the culture of making them care about it again, but, you know, I know it's something you're going to work on anyway, so would it make sense to codify it in there?
Something actually that we have been discussing with both of the high school principals that, you know, might be an appropriate thing to consider adding is we have been talking about implementing the map in 9th grade. Yes, we have the licenses. And so I think we're going to implement, you're going to hear it in the Quincy High improvement plan. They're going to talk about it. So we could add something to both. I think that might be a better goal. We'd love to do 9th and 10th grade eventually. But we're going to start with 9th. It won't actually, the kids are, in 9th grade, it's not a heavy testing year for most kids. You know, some kids take biology, but that's really it. And so I think that's a great, and the kids are used to it. They've had it forever, right? So it's not going to be a big deal for them. And teachers, we can train teachers on the tools. So what we could do is add a component that talks about the implementation of the map in 9th grade, because I do think that the MCAS, I think we have to wait a couple of years for 10 to see how it levels out a little bit, and see what the new baseline is. Hopefully we get back to where we were, but I do think it's, you know, I mean, we certainly can add a benchmark about working on cultural shifts for the MCAS for grade 10 too. I mean, that's totally fine.
Yeah, whether you guys think it needs to be a goal or, but I know it's something you're working on anyway, but I just wanted to ask about that because we have the other.
I think the map goal is great because it's actionable. The
Yeah,
MCAS has
the
never
map is
been
great.
actionable.
Yeah.
So if we
That's
can put a
great.
map
Add
goal in,
that
if you can
if you
pilot a
like.
map goal, pilot it this year, maybe just add piloting a map goal in there
Yep,
for this
like we
year.
can do, we're doing it in all 3 areas, science.
That's great. It's so much better than
ELA
MCAS anyway.
and math. And again, the goal would be that next year we will add grade 10 to it.
That's great. No, that's excellent. Just a couple last odd questions. Why is the math goal a student goal, but the ELA goal is a district goal? Does that?
Because this
more
is
curious.
part of the plan, the superintendent needs a student learning goal, but then also there's different
Okay,
labels.
it does,
based
there's
on
no
educator-
difference really, it's just two.
It's just the label of the goal, but I think when we looked at it, honestly, we felt like ELA was, they're both, you know, areas that we need to work on, but we felt like the writing was such a huge component of the ELA goal too, you know, and things that, so it really was, we could have gone either way, honestly.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
just curious if there was a difference in like importance or just, they're really just kind of equal, it's just the heading, right? Is that kind of, yeah, okay. Under the home to school connections, I love that we expanded it from just the 10 academies to also include the newsletters, which is what we're already doing anyway, but I love that it's more comprehensive than just sort of doing the 10. So I just wanted to say I love the home to school one. And my last comment was, so for the chronic absenteeism, I'm still, so we have from a base of 10.4 for grades K to 8 and a base of 21.2 for grades 9 to 12. So what was it, so last year for grades K to 8, it was 9.9, so we actually went
We
up?
went up a little bit.
Okay, what was it pre-COVID? Like,
So pre-COVID at the high school level was like 19-ish,
Yeah.
18, 19.
and what was it at the K to 8?
I think it was like 7,
Okay,
maybe?
so we're not really far off of
We're
what it was
not far,
pre-COVID,
but
so.
that's our goal. We want to get to
Well,
pre-COVID levels.
well, that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
I just don't know if, I mean, I'd like to see that goal. I'd like to see us say, we've achieved it, we've done, you know, we're there. And I think that we're so close that we're doing such a big push on the new attendance policy that I think we'll be there anyway. But I'm just, I'm hopeful that we can either just maybe focus on just the high school and just sort of say we're kind of good with the elementary, but I'm looking forward to this goal, saying you've done so much work on it, the schools have made so much progress. I think we're really, really close, and I'm excited to see that goal kind of go away.
We are too. That's
And I'd love to
that's the
see
hope.
us look
Yeah.
a little more on other initiatives. So thank you.
I'd like to accept the notion to accept the plan by adding the map piece
We'll
to
add the
it.
math, yes.
Seconded by Mrs. Everybody. So moved. And all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.